Alafia family, Abaru, Aboye, Abosheshe, Agbo Ado, Awori Ofun, Ikabo, Ikasan, Ikale. Whatever time you're viewing this video, faith that you're viewing it with good health and good peace. Ashe. Welcome to the Odu study group of the African Traditional Religious Academy. I'll be your instructor today, Baba Kwafi Jacomo Yoka. And today we are marching forward with the Oyeku sessions. I was reminded that I had already released and we have already covered of course the Oyeku Meji was covered in the Meji courses for everyone who to go back and check the Meji courses. Oyeku Meji was already covered, but also Oyeku Ogbe was already covered as well. And for whatever reason, we can't find it. We can go back over and revise the information. It's no problem. But today we're speaking about Oyeku Òwòrì. Ashe? Yes, family. Thank you. Today we're speaking about Oyeku Òwòrì, right? And we're speaking about the darkness. But, you know, there's such a misconception when we speak about the darkness. We're speaking about the darkness and the more positive light, the more positive energy, Ashe. Understand that the darkness is what everything comes from, right? Think about the flower. Think about the plant, right? That it absorbs all this energy from the light and then grows overnight, right? It grows in the darkness. So when we speak about Oyeku, right? We're speaking about that darkness. We're speaking about death and certain understandings. We're speaking about creation, a rebirth, standpoint. We're speaking about the womb. And this is where the darkness comes from. So we're speaking about a positive darkness, right? We're speaking about the darkness of the womb. Òwòrì has the energy of wisdom. It has the energy of, knowledge and consciousness, hidden energy, right? Hidden knowledges. And this becomes the hidden darkness, right? The hidden benefit, the hidden blessing of the darkness that we speak about, right? So understand that this Odu reminds us that whatever is hidden, it must be revealed, right? This Odu reminds us that we must look past and we must look beyond, right? Physical appearance. And then we receive this a lot. If we are dating someone, right? You're dating this man. This man is 6 foot, right? He's 200 pounds. He goes to the gym every day, right? He has a beard. He still has his hair, right? Whatever you ladies be saying, right? And for the fellas, same thing, right? She's about 5'8", 5'9", right? We have all of these things on this list for this person, but sometimes we must look past and look through, right? Not even past. We must look through the appearance. And this is what this Odu will remind us. Oyeku Òwòrì will remind us that we must keep a deep insight with all of our spiritual essence, but in everything that we go through, right? This Odu will remind us about the ancestral presence, right? That the ancestors are calling for attention and that our family lineage needs to be worked on at this point in time. If you receive this Odu, this could be a sign, and if I could tell you that you have some family issues or some generational curses that you must deal with, that you have ancestors that you may owe a debt with or that, may need attention, right? And I want to take time out to speak about the ancestral obligations that we have. And that when it comes to Igun, that a lot of this that we go through, it comes with that ancestral contract. So it's always important for ancestral veneration. Ashe. we must remember that this Odu will tell us about the transformation. It will tell us that we're at a transitional stage, that we're at a rebirthing stage. Remember, we said that Òyékù would be that rebirthing, it would be that creation, right? And Ìwòrì would be of consciousness, right? So we use that understanding that both of those essences will push us forward. It's time to transition. It's time to transform. And many believe that with both of these understandings is why Oya is here, right? All the way back to the ancestors, right? The dead, so to speak. Also, of just moving forward and transforming in what we need to be. Understand that when it is time for transformation, that you must remember. It is important to remember. Many of my godchildren, if you remember, what did I say about the caterpillar, right? That just because you are a butterfly now does not mean that you get to forget what you learned while you was a butterfly. The caterpillar and the butterfly, you know, the caterpillar must go through this whole process. Goes into the cocoon to just become this butterfly, but he must have no fear. He must trust and have faith that the process and the ritual that he is doing is enough for him to transition and transform into what he needs to be. Ashe. So, what Odrisa is present during Oyeku Odu? Now, there are many Odrisas that are present, and many people can believe many different things, right? But for sure, that Oya will be present during Oyeku Odu, that Asu will be present, that Arumala will be present, that Igun will be present, and sometimes Obaluaye will be present. Ashe. So when it comes to Oya and Asu, this is when you get the characteristics of this Odu that will give you sudden change. It will give you the road being opened, right? Because when we speak about Oya and Asu, we are speaking about exposure of the blessings of the ancestors, the exposure of any secrets, any exposure of anywhere where deception lies. So this is how we're able to have those open roads, by Asu and Oya exposing these things as we're going through this transitional and sudden change stages of our life. Ashe. Understand that when it comes to, yes, I do believe I mentioned that Arumala is present during this Odu. I do believe I mentioned Arumala. Ashe. So, we must remember that Oyeku Odu, it reminds us, better yet, it warns us about the different taboos that this Odu brings to us. But it reminds us about being in misalignment. It warns us that we may have enemies that try to deceive us, but they may not be so obvious, right? It warns us against having and holding grudges against people, and sometimes acting without having the correct knowledge or full knowledge of a situation, right? And this is how we save ourselves from spiritual attacks, which this Odu warns about us going through certain spiritual attacks, right? And this Odu says that carelessness is what will bring spiritual attacks. If we are careless with our practices, if we are careless with our work. So this is something that we must keep in mind, Ashe. So as Ashe families, yes, thank you. And as far as yes, as far as Obaluaye, this is when creation is there, right? You have Obaluaye sometimes represents the death and represents the rebirth and represents the purification, right? So this is when those characteristics will be taking place. In healing too, Ashe. So the taboos of Oyeku Odu. Avoid revealing your plans and your secrets, right? This is when you will need patience and silence. It is taboo, and you should avoid using pride in many situations. This is when you use ewebele and patience. Ashe. You should avoid arguments. You should use silence and ewebele, right? It is taboo, and you should avoid disrespecting any of your elders when you receive this Odu. And you use ewebele, silence, and patience when you're dealing with these characteristics, right? So, for the individuals who end up receiving this Odu, and you're having dreams about the ancestors, you are having dreams about being deceived, you are experiencing spiritual sensitivity, you have to understand that this is, the Odu being played out in its magnitude, Ashe. So remember, when you receive this Odu, you must appease the Iguns, right? And the Iguns will warn you, right? Talking about the connection with the Iguns under Oyeku Odu is very important. Ashe. I want to speak about a pataki of Orunmila, right? And Orunmila was going through a couple situations. And Orunmila, he was, suffering to a certain degree, going through a couple conflicts. And so he cast Ifa. And Oyeku Odu is the Odu that was present. So Ifa tells him to go and give Ebo, right? And don't worry about what is going on, just to have faith. So Orunmila, he goes and gives Ebo. And during his Ebo, during his reading, they warned about loss and different things like this. And this is the reason why he had to give the Ebo. So part of the Ebo is he had to craft a head out of clay. He had to place this head behind the door, right? And at this point, at the same time, Olufe had governed and cued Esu to go and destroy Orunmila. So Esu comes down and he finds Orunmila's house. And he reaches inside the house and he reaches behind the door and he feels a head, right? He feels the clay head that Orunmila left. So he grabs it and takes it back without even looking at it, right? He takes it back to Olufen. Olufen does nothing but laugh. And he says, Orunmila deserves to be the energy of wisdom. Orunmila deserves to be the king of knowledge and wisdom. Ashe. So we have to understand, by giving sacrifice, by giving Ebo, is how we are able to not only stay devoted, right, but be able to evade some of our problems, some of our conflicts, some of those negative energies that seem to be on our path. Ashe. There is many different herbs that we can use for this Odu. Ashe. When you receive this Odu, the person needs alignment. Ashe. You have Ewe Okoko, you have Ewe Arinrin, you have Ewe Tigrin, Ewe Afinrin, right? Ashe, families, yes. Thank you. So I want to take time to start off the Òyékù segments. And we're dealing with a lot today. So we want to take time. Ashe. So with all faith that you have retained some of this information inside your notes, families. This will, like I say, this is not the first Òyékù part of the Òyékù segments. We do already have Oyeku Odu out there. For whatever reasons we cannot find it, or you cannot find it, we will repost it or revise it. But we are starting the Oyeku Iwòrì, or the Òyékù sessions, and this is specifically Oyeku Iwòrì. Ashe. I was trying to answer as many questions as I could. Ashe. So powers ultimate, families. Everyone stay healthy out there. Faith that you have retained some of this in your notes. Double. Share about.